So when I look at that language, that diversity, equity, inclusion language, like in Vancouver, they got rid of advanced math classes or honors math classes
For what reason?
for equity. I mean, maybe they were just cutting things because they needed the money and they were using that as the rationale. But formally, it was because it wasn't helping their equity goal. So what that
Like,
really
I mean,
means
if
is
you're
too
gonna
many
go
of
with
the
stereotypes, Richmond would be the place with the advanced mathematics. I'm just
Wh-
throwing that one
why
out there, but
why would a city that has like why would a city systematically discriminate against its own kids? It's bananas.
that is
Like we
bananas.
brought all these people in, and it's so I work in software, right? So and it's well, I was gonna the it's not just like the Asian community. It's a lot of immigrant communities that we
Right.
brought in. The idea that they're now overrepresented in a certain math program or a medical program or something like that, it's just bananas. uh, that we've got too many of a certain kind of kid in some program seems like an unfortunate lens to take. Now, I
Yeah.
think they might just have the language there, and what they meant was niceness and rainbows and and unicorns and so on. But so Vancouver got rid of honors math with that kind of rationale. There's a
Hmm.
bunch of kerfuffle or drama in Toronto. They dropped basically they dropped competitive entry for specialized programs and replaced it with a lottery. And part of it again was equity, so they get the kind of the right balance of kids. California kind of got rid of standardized testing for admission in some places again to tweak who gets into these specialized programs to correct it for the systemic racism that's supposedly
Right.
behind the current mix.
Now, I really enjoy reading a lot of economists and their take on things. Thomas Sowell is one of my favorite writers on the subject, and he talks about how affirmative action actually played out in academia in like places like UCLA, Berkeley, and how it actually hurt the people it was purported to be helping. And the way it would hurt them is it would put them into academic uh, trajectories that they would not be apt to complete. They didn't have the aptitude to actually go through it, and there was the higher dropout rate because of it. And they found that there was more failures and a higher rate of failure, as opposed to actually pushing them into vocations that they were more. These individuals were more apt to having would have been had they gone into these other vocations. Now, what ended up happening was because there was a higher dropout rate or a higher failure rate, they blamed that itself on systemic racism, and that I mean on its head, like when you actually observe the facts, that's just ludicrous. But here we are in a situation in Canada where we're trying to do the same thing by like standardized testing and knowing where somebody is academically is the best way of knowing where they might want to go academically post secondary, would it not?
It's certainly helpful, and the idea. So there's some lines of reasoning that standardized testing is a tool of white supremacy. You'd think so. Standardized testing has been around in Asia for a long time, right? And so you would think that in Richmond, it should be a hard sell. The next layer of what's going to come down, right? So
What you just watched was a clip from a live stream that I shot earlier this week. If you want to be present live as it happens during some of these impromptu live streams, be sure to be subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell. It lets you know when I go live. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.